Hey, what's going on, guys? I wanted to bring you a Farming Simulator 25 yield test between base game and precision farming. Now, I'm going to be voiceovering this video because unfortunately when I recorded this, it didn't record my audio on a separate track. So, to make everything smoother for the viewing experience, I'm just going to re-record my voice now. So what I'm showing you on screen is that the field will be field 38 that we'll be testing. The reason I picked this one is because the land size, I just wanted to get a more realistic representation of the difference in profit between farmland 38 and most other videos you may find on the subject regarding like a 1 acre plot of land. So farmland 38 is 10 acres and the farmland 38 size is 13 acres. So our area that we can actually work with will be 10 acres as opposed to these small other areas as I was showing you on screen here. So as you can see, the Colossus or Colossal Harvester, the yellow one back there, I'm going to be using that to speed up the testing so that I could harvest quickly. But the Farmland 38 already, as far as plowing, we actually just don't even have it enabled so that we can speed up this process. Farmland 38 does need weeding and it does need lime, so you should see in the next segment here I'll be liming, and then there'll be some time lapses to speed up the footage and consolidate time and effort and energy to watch this video. But we shall see what we end up with. Alright, so we're ready to harvest. You can see we're at 100% yield bonus. This is again base game, and here I'm about to use the Colossus or Colossal Harvester just to speed up the process. Alright, so as you can see, from base game harvesting at 100% yield bonus, we have accumulated 78,071 liters. Best place to sell is farmers market at the time, and December is the best month. It just so happened that our field, I didn't try to make this happen, but it just so happened that our sell point was just down the road, which was awesome. So we're about to sell and we'll see what we get. And it looks like we have, what was it? $56,930 from that. And again, this is base game, 100% yield bonus. So we're going to switch over to precision farming, and then we're going to repeat the same process again and see what we end up with. All right, now we're in precision farming. You can see field 38. One thing I want to say I will factor in is the cost that it will take to purchase soil information, which is going to be $4,025. Now, you could do it yourself with your own sampler, but in a lot of cases, the size of the field, some people may find them just purchasing it, and I wanted to give a worst case scenario. So $4,025 will be the total cost for soil information, so we'll factor that in. All right, so we're pulling up now to unload, and we are only netting 45,033 liters. One thing that's funny about the Colossal Pack, you get this trailer, and I just didn't want to make multiple trips, so 45,033 liters is 0% of the capacity of this unrealistic trailer. And now we're headed off to sell this. Now, obviously, this is going to be less money, right? Because our other harvest yield was 78,071 liters. But will the profit be there from factoring in the two different costs for fertilizer and lime? We'll see towards the end of this video. And we only netted $32,835 plus an additional $2,975 from the environmental score. All right, so at the end of our test, Base Game gave us a net income of $47,379.67 from one field of wheat, and this is a normal difficulty. We used a total of 5,238 liters, and the consumed cost of that lime was $1,178.55. We used seeds of 1,351 liters, and the cost of seeds to plant the wheat cost us $1,702.26. Our fertilizer, 2,821 liters at $4,837.12. Our herbicide used 1,527 liters at $1,832.40 for a harvest yield of 78,071 liters and a total sale of $56,930. Now for our precision farming analysis. So we start off with the soil analysis that you will be required to place on your field so that you can get accurate measurements of your soil, and that came in at $4,025. Now, of course, you could do it manually, but I think most people are just going to pay for their field to be done, especially if the field is large. But you may not, and if not, around $1,700 can come off that number. For our lime, we used 11,990 liters at a total cost of $2,697.75. Our seeds, I colored the word seeds a darker yellow because they are identical between Base Game and Precision Farming. I do believe this is because apparently wheat is not a variable seed rate crop. I don't really remember which seed is. So in this case, it actually was a good thing for me because it just showed the accuracy of the test that I consumed the exact amount no matter what on either save game. For fertilizer, we used 3,496 liters at a cost of $6,712.32. And for herbicide, Precision Farming shines here because our herbicide use was only 137 liters at $164.40. So you do save quite a considerable amount of money on your herbicide, and when you compare it to base game, since we used on base game 1,527 liters, a lot of savings, especially at $164.40. But the harvest yield is so much lower than base game that it kind of negates the fact that we're saving money on herbicide, because our harvest sale was only $35,810 in comparison to base game's $56,930. And after it's all said and done, that resulted in our net income of only $20,508.27. It's over half as bad as base game. So with this knowledge, these are just my personal opinions and thoughts, but I really don't see precision farming as something that's worth it. I was really excited when it was coming out. I think the additions it makes are pretty awesome. You know, the mini map is my favorite feature of it, where as you're fertilizing or doing field work, you can see a preview of what's happening in your field. And that makes it really convenient for when you need to go and correct certain spots that maybe you missed and stuff like that. But just the sheer fact that our difference in yield is pretty much exactly 50% from the same exact field, and we will net such a lower number in terms of our profit from sale in a game where everything is already pretty expensive because you're obviously buying high-tech farm equipment and it's not cheap. It kind of begs the question, for the time I invest into the game and the amount of hours that I may spend on it, is it worth it to do the same work, maybe a little less with precision farming because you only have to do fertilizer once, but is it worth the extra time and effort and energy while I'm playing the game to yield such a smaller number and smaller sale at the end of it all? Especially when playing with seasons on. For this test, I just had seasons off so that we can just bang out the crop as quick as possible. But if you have seasons on, you're waiting an entire year basically for wheat to be harvest ready. And if you're waiting a whole year for your harvest ready field, I mean, damn, you're probably going to want to have some cash on hand at the end of that journey. And the fact that you don't is just blows my mind. I think precision farming is a great DLC if you want more realism, but I do think that the implementation of precision farming is flawed, and the reason I say that is because out of the box, hot off the shelf, this game has the potential to give you, on field 38 with wheat, 78,071 liters. And so if I can get that much from base game, if I can get 100% of my field every single time, and then what I do with my time adds a yield bonus, if I can get that yield bonus up to 100%, then I'm looking at 78,071 liters as a return for that time. I believe precision farming, I don't know if there's something beyond my understanding of why they made it the way that they did, but I believe that precision farming should have the ability to at least scale you up to the 100% yield bonus that you would get from base game. Maybe not more than, and maybe make it difficult to get, maybe borderline impossible to get, but to get exactly half of the yield that you would get is just wild to me. And it really just begs the question, should you have it installed? It's going to be personal preference if you want that extra realism, but one thing I will say before I let you guys go is that the test that I did not factor in equipment cost. Now, the reason that I did not factor in equipment cost is because I did not factor in equipment cost for base game, and it's one of those one-time purchases. What I mean by equipment cost, if you don't know, is like pulse width modulation for your sprayers and stuff like that. It's a one-time cost, and I wanted to focus 100% on yield itself. So, yeah. But thank you guys for watching. I hope this was informative, and it'll be up to you guys what you decide is best for your gameplay.